The ANC's top brass is looking to reset the coalition government and has tasked its negotiating team to begin talks with parties within the Government of National Unity and outside within the next 5 days. The outcomes of those will then be referred to the ANC's National Executive Committee within 2 weeks. This is ahead of Parliament's consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriations Bill in May and June, respectively. The committee says this will ensure political stability within the GNU before the National Assembly's vote on 2 other items of budget legislation. This comes as the GNU's anchor parties, the ANC and DA, have disagreed on the fiscal framework, which includes a 0.5 percentage point VAT hike this year and next. Recently announced tariffs by U.S. President Donald Trump will hurt South Africa's citrus farms, and this could potentially affect 35,000 jobs. That's according to the Citrus Growers Association of Southern Africa. Trump imposed a 31% tariff on U.S. imports from South Africa. This means that the cost of each carton will go up by $4.50, making South Africa's citrus exports to the U.S. less competitive. Given the situation, growers have called on government to prioritize immediate negotiations with the U.S. on tariff reductions or exemptions on citrus. Anglo American's penciled in a date for its Amplats demerger. It circled the end of May, and it's hoping shareholders will give the demerger the green light at this month's AGM. Anglo CEO Duncan Wanblad says while there's been many benefits of Amplats being part of Anglo's stable, it's clear that the valuation and value creation prospects of both companies could be better optimized as 2 separate entities. He's added that Anglo American Platinum is now set up to thrive independently, and that now is the right time to demerge the business and allow shareholders to participate directly in its success. Cashbuild's growing its portfolio. The building materials retailer has agreed to acquire a 60% stake in All Build Co. That's in a deal worth 93 million rand. All Build Co. owns 3 hardware and building material stores in Pretoria and Limpopo. Cashbuild says this acquisition aligns with its strategy to become a market leader in South Africa's hardware and building material sector. Munir Ismail will join First Rand from HSBC. He held the position of CEO of HSBC South African Operations and will now be a member of First Rand's Strategic Executive Committee. In international news, German sports car maker Porsche output dropped in the first quarter. Porsche vehicle deliveries lowered by 8%, hit by declining demand in China and Europe. Let's take a look for more detail.
German sports car maker Porsche delivered 8% fewer vehicles globally in the first quarter of this year. It said on Tuesday it had been hit by falling demand in China and Europe. Global deliveries stood at 71,470 cars worldwide, with deliveries down 42% in China year-on-year and by 1/10 in Europe. In Germany, Porsche's home market, deliveries slumped just over 1/3 to around 7,500 vehicles. A bright spot, though, in North America, deliveries rose 37% over the same period. The growth was partly attributed to import-related delays in the delivery of some model lines in the same period last year. Ahead of the results, one analyst said that luxury car brands like Porsche and Ferrari are most exposed to US tariffs. German carmaker Mercedes-Benz said on Monday that its first quarter unit sales of cars and vans fell 7%, also hit by declining demand in China and Europe.
And China resisted U.S. pressure, dismissing it as blackmail. This is due to a global trade war ignited by President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, which showed few signs of abating even as battered stock markets steadied. Here's more detail in this report.
China has refused to bow to what it calls blackmail from the United States. That, as a global trade war ignited by Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, showed few signs of abating on Tuesday. Beijing's rebuke came after Trump threatened to ratchet up tariffs on US imports from the world's number 2 economy to more than 100% on Wednesday, in response to China's decision to match the reciprocal duties Trump announced last week. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian.
我想美方的
The actions of the US side have not demonstrated any genuine willingness for serious dialogue. If the US truly wishes to engage in talks, it should adopt an attitude of equality, mutual respect and reciprocity. If it persists in disregarding the common interests of both countries and the international community and insists on escalating the trade and tariff conflict, China will, as always, fight to the end.
必将奉陪到底。
China's fast and hardline approach contrasted with moves by other Asian countries. The EU is also still consulting with member states on how hard to punch back without causing more harm to its consumers and exporters. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, in a phone call with China's Premier Li Qiang, called on Beijing to ensure a negotiated solution and stressed the need to support a fair trading system founded on a level playing field. The two also reportedly discussed setting up a mechanism to track possible trade diversion caused by the tariffs. The EU fears China will redirect cheap exports from the US to Europe. The bloc has proposed counter-tariffs of its own to Trump's onslaught that has swept up dozens of countries. Financial markets have been sent into a tailspin in recent days. It's fueled expectations that the global economy may be headed for recession.